So just know that is a big piece. And if you see, this is the Parkland shooter. Social media is definitely being used more and more. A lot of the past school shooters have all used social media to post. And unfortunately, students are not reporting it. So I'm going to walk you through like how we train students on how to be what we call digital first responders. That they're the first ones to the scene. When they see this kind of content, we do need their help to help report. And we need adults to bridge that gap to make students understand how important this is, because it is a wild, wild west on the social media. And we have to start, helping. It's not just the social media companies' jobs to help make these platforms better. It's our responsibilities as well. And I'm so glad you guys are here to be able to hear how to do that, because this is, by the way, this is the next one is the Texas school shooter, Udale, and how much they posted. And again, it is. Here's even a student who was upset that they didn't report. They were afraid. They were afraid of him, right? And so we need to teach students like everything. There is things that are anonymous. There is things in getting adults involved when you are afraid online, and then we can get the right help that they can get. So just showing you those different pieces, and because of that, we actually created a social media emergency plan to help, especially schools, resource officers, like the admin, right? All these different people who are working with schools. Even in I love it. I get to work with some even hospitals now. They're having issues. So this is what it is. And so the emergency plan, it's high risk, medium risk, low risk. High risk would be where cops need to get involved. This is something that's constantly being changed because it's never been made. So if anybody wants to help with this and have it, it is free. I'll put the links in there for you guys to have afterwards. But it's all hyperlinked, which is nice. It's a PDF. So if I click on high risk, this would pop up. And then if I click, these are the 4 steps. When I click on step 1, it'll pull up the Google folder that has all the documents in there. And so kind of what's inside. And step 2 is here's like a list to help people walk them through a cyberbullying situation. And then the other one is what kind of screenshots do they need when they're actually doing an investigation. It just kind of helps people when they're in that emergency situation to help them walk them through that part. And we're actually on our 3rd checklist because there's been more things that are happening that they're like, admin's like, we really need your help on making another checklist for it. In step 3, it's about communication. So we even made templates for them to push out. I'm now getting cops asking for templates of what they can do. I'm trying to get even helping like media hospitals, because I know they're having those different things on that end. There is some slides that I am not able to share because we get paid to show off our slides. I will have a slide deck at the end that has a lot of our ones that are all of our free pages and resources and links for you guys to be able to go and sign up on that end. So we'll be pushing out slides, but it will not be the entire slide deck. I'll be honest on that, because that is our bread and butter of a nonprofit, to be able to keep being self-sufficient on that end. So I just want to make sure I'm transparent on that. Step 4, but this, again, all this stuff is free, so you can sign up to be able to get these social media emergency plan. But we need your emails, because when we update it, we need to be able to push it out saying we have a new update, so that everyone has the new updates on that end. So step 4 is we've been making a safety plan, like who is on your safety team for the social media team. So let me go back to that, is just making sure who's on there, right? Of who should be on there, and that we're making sure that it's people that feel comfortable on that end. So that is our social media emergency plan. Again, I'll give you guys a link to be able to sign up on that end to actually put it in the chat right now. To be able to have that and download it and test it out and tell us if there's anything pieces that you think is missing, so we can make sure to have that on that part. But there's definitely way more pieces than what I showed, but I just want to give you guys kind of a idea of what is in there. So we're now going to transition kind of more into what we do for the parents to kind of bring them on board, because this is a big piece that I think is missing. Is it starts in the home, right? It definitely starts in the home, and so we need to get them on the same page. And being a parent is really hard nowadays, right? How many of you guys agree? Go ahead and put in the chat, like, how many of you guys are a parent? Is it hard to parent? And is it hard? So put yes if you're a parent, and put yes, double yes if you're like, it is hard to parent, right? In this digital era, right? Yes, I love it, exactly. So I'm hoping this is what I'm gonna do, is walk you through it, right? Totally agree on it. Being perfect is not realistic, but being present is doable. And that's all we're asking, is we need more parents to be present. being present in this digital space and not going like, oh, social media, it's so bad, right? You need to be present on it. And how I kind of describe it with parents and even educators, right? And people who work with students. How many remember teaching your kid how to read? Was it hard? It was. There's no you can use all the apps or have them read on their own kind of things, but there's no fast way to teach your kid how to read. That you have to literally sit with them and teach them how to read, and help them decode the words and help them analyze the story. And so the same thing is happening with these devices. You have to sit with them and you help them decode the message and analyze the context. Is this positive? Is this negative? Is this appropriate for our family? Is this inappropriate, right? Having those conversations is so important. And it is that you have to sit down with them and really have that piece. It's how I teach students. It's kind of like the driver's license, right? Your driver's license, you get a permit for a year. You had to be in the passenger seat with your kid to teach them how to drive. And the more practice they got with you in the passenger seat, the better they got at driving. So these are pieces we need to do is we need to start being present and making the time to be able to work with them on what is it, because there's so much going on in these devices that we need to help with that part, right? To help them understand it. Children are deprived, right? They're deprived of healthy fundamentals. Last night, I actually did a parent night presentation at a school down in Southern California, and it's a middle school of 1,100 students, and it was actually a pretty good turnout. But it was out of 1,100 students, about 20 parents showed up, right? So just give you an idea of the numbers there, and that comes down to emotionally available parents. Parents are just not emotionally available. Like there's just so much more stress with, with recession, with all these different pieces going on. I think parents are just more emotionally not available. Clearly defined limits and guidance. I mean, think about it. What's the age you're supposed to get a smartphone, right? What is the age you're supposed to get? There's no clear guidance and limits. How much time? That's another question again, is how much time you're supposed to on this. Again, going back to the age, the suggested age is 13. Put in the chat, how many of you guys know somebody who is under the age of 13 who has a smartphone? How many of you guys know someone who's under 13? Put yes if you do, right? I want you guys to see how many people, 10, right? There's so many people who have, like, kindergartners now have smartphones. The suggested age is 13. There's no legal age. There's no clear defined limits and guidance of when we're supposed to give them this device. And that's where it's getting harder and harder of this piece. So that's where it gets kind of hard. And the responsibilities, like they're lacking the responsibilities. They're not having the chores because they are so mentally stressed out. They're forgetting those different pieces. Balanced nutrition, adequate sleep, because these things are kind of going off, that they're lacking in those areas. That's why the state of California did change their school hours to go later ones to hopefully get them to sleep in. They're just changing their habits in a different way now, even though we're letting school start later. Movement and outdoors, they're lacking that. And the last one is creative play, social interaction, and downtime. Those are all the things that they're missing out on. It's kind of understanding how important this is. So here's the thing though, with our nonprofit, when we work with students and schools, these are the results that we're getting. We're getting them to actually report threats, right? So in the 1 year, we usually get about 10 school threats report to us. We're getting suicide threats reported to a trusted adult. Like the schools are saying, like, hey, thank you so much. Like they actually reported this to us because of the work that you're doing with the students. Over 15, usually about 1,500 negative pages we help take down every year because of the work we do. We've taught students how to do this. And then because of the work we're doing with them is we're helping them create positive content, which that's what you're trying to do, right? Getting them to use it for the right reasons instead of using it for the wrong reasons. So keeping it 100%. As a nonprofit, we are a 501(c)(3). We celebrate youth innovation. I think this is so important. We need to celebrate. And then we empower student change makers, right? And then our last one is we promote digital safety. We try to make it in a fun kind of way. It's very hard to do, but we found ways, and I'm going to give you guys to build examples. So to kind of start us off, I think it's important for us as adults to reflect on how we're using our screens. These are the same questions we ask students, but I want you guys to see it doesn't make a difference, because here's the reality, right? Put yes if you agree. How many of you guys have seen adults post something online? You're like, I don't think they should have posted that. How many of you guys put yes if you have seen this? Right? Right? How many of you guys have seen adults be addicted to their devices? Put yes if you have seen that. So as much as we say students are doing this, adults are also, as you know, they're doing this. So here we go. I'm going to ask you these questions. Go ahead and put your number in the chat after I ask each question. 5 is you strongly agree, 1 is you strongly disagree, and then somewhere in the middle, you've got to evaluate yourself. Okay, so this is evaluating yourself on where you're at on this. So the first one is I compare myself to others. Do you give yourself a strongly agree or strongly disagree, or are you somewhere in the middle? So go ahead and put that in the chat because I think it's good for you to self-evaluate. Where do you need to focus? Where do you need to change? So some of you guys, it looks like some high numbers there. Okay, so here we go. Next one is my device is an addiction for me. How much is your device an addiction for you? Is it 5? You strongly agree. Some people are like, I'm a 10. I've had students say I'm a 10. They've called themselves out. How addicted are you to your device? Call yourself out, give yourself a score, evaluate yourself. Perfect. I don't see any 10s. So that's good. That's a good sign. All right, here we go. Notifications are distracting to me. Are notifications distracting to you? Yeah, how distracting are your notifications? A lot of high scores on this one. Okay, so we got to make sure we work on this one. All right, so if they're high, we're gonna have to make sure we can see that. Perfect. Negative comments online affect me. Do negative comments affect you? And this one's always interesting because some people are very high and some people are very low on this one because some people just don't let it have it affect them. Okay, where are you at on this one? All right, here we go. Okay, so some people are kind of in the middle, it looks like. Okay, that's good. I don't always show the full story online. Do you only post all your happy stuff of like, my family is perfect? Like, that Pinterest. Like, how many guys, oh my gosh, Pinterest. I try Pinterest. Complete failure, does not look like the picture. And I'm too embarrassed sometimes to post some of that stuff. So how much do you actually post that full story, right? And I think this is the same thing. Students are having a hard time. They have a new app called Be Real where they wait to show off the more exciting part of their life. Okay, awesome. How about this one? I'm afraid to show my social media to my family. Again, this is meant for students, but it's also good for adults to see it because you might be like, nope, I don't let my my parents follow me or my aunts and uncles or whoever, right? How many guys? So yeah, somebody wasn't going to allow their parents. Okay, perfect. How about I don't always report inappropriate behavior online, right? You see it, but you scroll past and be like, oh, that's messed up. Oh, that's messed up. So are you 5? Do you actually report things or do you actually turn it in? So I think that's important to call it out as well so we can kind of see which ones we need to work on ourselves. All right. And the next one is I have passively told friends I'm mad at them by blocking them. So this is a new thing that a lot of students do, but I've actually know some friends who have done this and have had to respectfully call them out because they have been doing this. So have you done this before? Call yourself out. If you need to give yourself a high score, but it looks like we're giving ourselves all low scores in this one. That's good. But that is a thing that students are doing. Instead of saying, I'm mad at you, they just simply they get tired and they just block them on their text thread on that end. All right, and the last one is, I can't wait to see where we're at on this one. I need to work on not getting sucked into negative drama. Who needs to call themselves out and give yourself a 5 on this? You get sucked in. Oh, we see some people call themselves out. Good job. I'm proud of you. Because it's one of those hard things that you forget to do. And it's not just students who are doing this, it is also adults who do this. Yes, you are getting sucked into the negative drama and you get caught up and you get sucked into the, all the parent sports, dance groups and on the group text of complaining about this or that or the referees. And you get sucked in this negative drama, political viewpoints, you get sucked in, right? And we're getting sucked into next door. Thank you, Katie. Right, Kate? All right. You get sucked into that negative drama or like the crime, all these different things. And then it makes your emotions get, caught up, right? So just knowing if you gave yourself high scores, you need to reflect as an adult and what you can do to change. And I love it when students tell me what they're doing on their end, right? Is if it's an addiction for them, they've told me they're like, Kim, when I'm doing my homework, I put my phone under my pillow or I put on airplane mode, right? Like there's kind of some cool things that they're doing to be able to do that. They said that they when they compared themselves to others, they've actually gone back and they've unfollowed, especially some influencers. Like, I'm never going to look like this influencer, so why am I following them? They just make me like sad that I can't look like them, right? They said that getting sucked into negative drama, they're like, I just don't engage anymore. Like, I just don't respond. If someone puts anything like, let's talk about gossip, I just don't talk. and I just either change the subject really quickly. So it's just kind of neat to see what students are doing and they're saying once they've reflected on this. So it's a great activity for you to try out with what your people doing. So here's what we're going to do is, let me put this in the chat as well. We're going to be going over the parent guidelines that I'll put in the chat. And again, I'm going to put it as a slide deck at the end that'll have all these things that I'm putting in the chat, so it's easier for you, all in one spot. So just know that and have that piece there. Okay, so we're going to be following these parent guidelines that I just put in the chat for you to kind of view. If you guys have any questions, just make sure you guys, oops, sorry. I don't love technology. Just make sure you guys ask. All right, so in the chat, so we can see that. There we go. Okay, so the first one in the parent guidelines is follow friend your child on any social media sites that they use. So if you work with students, even if you, like, I will be honest with you, I am not a parent. I just, like I said, I've just been in education for a very long time. And I work with a lot of students on a regular basis. So following your friend your child is super important. So if they are on any of these, oops, there we go. If they're on any of these sites, you need to know what they are, right? These are the most popular ones that are out there. And if you work with youth, you should know what they are. I don't play Roblox, or I'll get there here in a second, but this is Roblox down here. This R1, that down below, it's a gaming thing. I don't play it, but I know a lot of students who do. So I make sure I download it at some point to see what they're on. And I want to know how that's played. How, can you chat with different people? I've let, students have let me use their phone and play with the different apps, or I like have that different thing. So I think it's so important that you know what your students are using and how they're using it so that you can see those different things. Yep, exactly. And I'll kind of thanks Daryl for that piece. So just knowing that kind of on that end, that's why it's so important to know what these are. So the first one, the top here, the top left, this is Instagram. Like Daryl said, a lot of them have, it's easy to have multiple accounts. I actually have multiple accounts on my Instagram account. I can go from my personal right over to my company, my nonprofit one. I even had a third one to be able to show off. One of my students gave me her Finsta account access, but I don't have it anymore. But just to be able to show off how easy it is to go from one account to another account, to be able to switch accounts. It's very easy on Instagram to switch from one to another. The second one here is called Discord. A lot of students are using this one because honestly, what it is, we have Discord for our nonprofit. Our students use it because we have channels. It's kind of like Slack. If you know what Slack is like, there's different channels that you can have different conversations in the different channels. So students use it for, homework. They do a lot of copying off of homework on that. They've used it for, but they also use it for positive things. Like we use it to we have a channel that's talking about mental health. We have I've seen it where they have a channel that's talking about political stuff that they can keep involved. They can know what's going on. So there's kind of neat things. They do shout outs. They have a group, a Slack channel. They can do shout outs to people. So there's positive things, but yes, of course, there's negative things that they're using. Like I said, for homework, they have all their different classes. Like here's my math class, here's my science class. If they need homework in those different ones, then they kind of drop them in on that end. Also, why they're using it too is because Samsungs and iPhones and Google phones, they don't do group chats very well together. So that's why they've been switching over to the kind of channels like Discord to be able to have better group chats on that end. The third one here is YouTube. Here's a big one I want to make sure people understand on this is everyone's like, my kid doesn't have TikTok, my kid doesn't have TikTok, but all TikToks are YouTube shorts now. So if it's on TikTok, it is also on YouTube. So it is one of those things that you just need to be very knowledgeable about that parents like, but they don't have it. And like, yes, so they can watch it on a different thing. What are they taking pictures of? What are they taking videos of? Camera roll, be aware of that. Be Real, like I said, that's probably one of the newer ones. Basically what it is one time a day, you're gonna take one picture. It'll go off that you don't know what it is to take a picture to try to be real. But what's happening is, let's say mine goes off at 3 o'clock and I'm just doing my homework. Well, that's kind of boring to see every day of me just being boring of being studious. So sometimes I'll wait until 6 p.m. when I'm out at my sports or I'm out at a game, which is a little more exciting. So am I not really being real because I'm not actually posting when it goes off? So that's kind of what that one's about. The next one's WhatsApp app. Again, we'll use this one a lot for the group chats to be able to conversate, especially if international people have any family or friends that way. TikTok, this is just texting, but who are they? A lot of them are group chats, right? So knowing what their group chats are. Twitter is now called X. That's their new logo. Minecraft, it's a gaming app, right, that they can communicate. even all the Google Docs, Gmails, all that kind of stuff. They can. I've had a lot of students who are doing inappropriate things on even their documents. Like they're just making comments on there, and it's, I don't know, it's crazy what they're doing on that part. Roblox, and it's a gaming company. Snapchat, Twitch, which is a streaming app that you can game and watch your friends game. And the last one is Fortnite, right? It's another gaming thing. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is most of these accounts, you're supposed to be 13 to be on. The ones that are not is Roblox. There is some games that are under 8, or usually 8+. Minecraft and Fortnite are supposed to be 12, right? So, and I think Minecraft has an 8+ one as well, where there's no chatting setting. But all the other ones, like the Instagrams and the Snapchat and the TikToks, are all supposed to be, you're supposed to be 13. Again, that's the suggested age, but how many of you guys know students who have this when they're under that age? And that's where we're trying to get to, is like getting people to understand how important it is that we have these conversations with students, that they know on the same page. Like what our company does is, if you sign up with our newsletters, we have interns that every month we are starting to push out what the trends are. Everything from what's the trend TikTok, what's the trend apps, if there's any new apps. So this was one that we had reported about that was a trend when school started. It was called Saturn. And basically why students were using it is because their schedules are confusing. Like a lot of them have A, B blocks. And so like what day is what? But then they can only go in and follow people from their school. But when I downloaded it, I had to reach out to Saturn. I don't know them, but I just said, hey, you need to check the safety things, because I'm not a student, but I was easily able to make an account pretending like I was a student. So that way somebody else could jump in there at any moment. So they now made it where I don't know, they're definitely tweaking things a lot, where they have to be connected with a person who was already in it to be able to get added. So I know they're changing things. There's a lot of safety concerns in there, but just even knowing what the new things are when you're dealing with students and talking to them about it on trends. Again, if you sign up with our emails, and I would put as your a parent, because that's going to be the big one that we're going to have it, and we're going to be pushing out to parent and even organization. So if you're an organization, you want it that way. Educators definitely get some different kind of content if you want to make sure you're seeing those different pieces. Okay, so step 2 on the parent guidelines is teaching privacy, right? Go on a regular basis what information they should not be shared online or over text. Okay, so for example, these are all things you shouldn't be sharing, like your full name. Now, I feel like, you always feel like you're being a hypocrite. So I always tell students, like, hey, I'm a public speaker. So yes, my Instagram is called Kim Carr, right? Underscore I can help. I'm a public speaker, so it doesn't have my full name. But as a young person, there's a lot of creepers out there. And so having your full name is not always the best idea, especially if you're a gamer and you're playing against people that are they're playing against strangers. And we were trained, you don't talk to strangers, but they're in the generation now where you have online friends, right? I have online friends, and I actually have met a few online friends that have become such good friends. I've actually met them in person. And so but changing the name, their username on that. So it's just making sure they kind of understand that whole piece of it, because they do. They'll even the phone numbers. Hey, if somebody wants someone's phone number for your soccer team, you just ask that person, is it okay if I give Kim your phone number for this, right? Walking them through those different things of like information you should share. And what it is like, here's an example of that, of like private versus public, because a lot of students do have it on public. And again, if it's your kids, you need to have a conversation of like, nope, as a family, we are going to have all of our accounts on private, and here's the reason why. And you make that family decision. But when I'm dealing with, mainly high school and middle schools, but I go down to elementaries as well, I'm making sure they understand the difference between public and private. So this girl who came to me last year, she was in 8th grade. She goes, Kim, I am getting attacked online. Here's what happened is someone was taking pictures from her Instagram account, and they were moving over to a TikTok and then make it into a TikTok, right? And it was really mean. As you can read what it says, weighs more than her dad's coffin. Horrible, like super mean, right? And her dad had just passed away not even a year ago. And so super mean. So she came to me and I asked her, I said, is your account on public or private? And again, I wasn't about to shame her. I just wanted to know. And she said, yep, it is on public. I said, okay, so here's the thing. When your account is on public, anyone can view your profile, anyone can comment on your post, and posts can be shared anywhere. So understanding that people can use your posts, like news media does this a lot. if there's something that goes down, they can go over to public accounts and they can share information up online, right? They can, I've had even companies have reshare content. If you're wearing some kind of logo, if your account is public, they can reshare it. Can they reshare your stuff and make it into something negative like this? No, this is now where it's cyberbullying. This is harassment. This can be slander. There's been times where it's been hate speech, right? Those were all laws. So making sure they understood that part, right, on that end. So then I talked to her about, okay, so now if it's private, making sure the difference is private, you manually approve your followers. You only followers see your post, and posts are hidden from searches, right? So once I walked her through this, she's going to her settings. I didn't tell her to do this. She's making this decision on her own. She's going to her settings and she's changing her account from public to private. Then I see her go to her followers list and she's doing this. She's like, nope, don't trust this person. It could have been this person who did it. It could have been this person. So she eliminated over, I don't even know, it was like definitely over 150 people. She ended up only leaving herself with like about 100 people. And I'm like, she goes, nope, if I get attacked again, I'm going to remove even more. And I said, hey, that was a great decision. Maybe when next year, when you get into high school and you have new friends, like you can try again. You can maybe open back up to public. You can get to make that choice. So just kind of neat to be able to see her once you kind of educate them, that she now has the power and that she knows how to use it. There's been times where I've been under attack that I have switched from public to private, right? So just teach them when, especially when you're under attack, you for sure want to be on private. Information sharing, I mean, because social media is your resume for life. So here's 3 colleges who didn't allow these athletes to get scholarships or even come into their college because of the stuff that they are posting up on online, right? Information of, showing their true colors of who they are. If they're may show racist comments or drinking or whatever else. Vaping is a big one. So these are perfect examples of them seeing that social media is a resume for life. That is a terminology that we use them often. And it's important for them to see. Even me as an adult, I was trying to rent Airbnb, and they want to know my social media because a lot of these Airbnb accounts, they're tired of cops coming to their house. Airbnb is at that point where they're making strict laws around that. If they get written up by the cops, now the community is wanting, Airbnb's out. So they're starting to change a lot of these things, right? It's not just employees, it's not just colleges, it's also like, someone's trying to date you. It's going to be their friends are going to stalk your page. It's going to be their parents are going to stalk their page, right? So getting them to understand how much people look at it. It's like, here's exactly what's happening. They're posting this kind of stuff. This is your resume. People take screenshots of it, and then they went to the school, and they're like, oh, here's the principal's email. This was not at school. This was done at a house party. No one's wearing school attire, and but they wanted the school to do something about it. So just making sure we kind of see this, because the big thing I try to tell parents is like knowing what your is where you're at as a parent or whatever your profession is, like what's your lane. Because in education, when something does go down on campus, doesn't have to be just on social media, it does go on campus, we have an order of how we have to communicate at a school, right? It goes down like this. And same thing for hospitals, right? It's all like, this is the structure of how it has to go. Social media is like this. So it goes up on Nextdoor, goes up on Facebook, it goes up on Twitter. Like people find out about it. And so it's so hard to keep up. And everyone's like, well, why didn't they communicate? Why didn't they do this? It's like, because they have to go in order. To give you an example, I taught out in Discovery Bay, Byron, if you guys know where that's at a middle school. And so Burgess was my student, and he was biking to school. And unfortunately, he was coming into school and a parent was leaving, and the parent hit him and killed him instantly on the scene. I was the first staff member to the scene. I knew that he was not with us anymore. And because it's right on the Highway 4 there, my first instinct was to cover his body up because we didn't want people taking pictures of it while they're driving by. Like that's where we're at now with social media, right? The second thing was I'm quickly creating my emergency people of who can I get a hold of on social media to be able to help us watch social media while we're dealing with this situation, right? So I texted a few parents saying like, hey, can you help me make sure that this stays offline because we haven't been able to get a hold of those parents. Thankfully I did. I was able to, have those parents who are our social media plan of people who help us online because a person who thinks that they're, the news media person had shared his name up online before we were able to contact his parents. And so thankfully, those parents reached out to that person. They were able to get that person to get it taken down. It still was up, but at least it was taken down. But this is, again, what's your lane? Is it your job to post something online? I just reached a superintendent just reached out to me because some parent had bought court documents, because you can now do that, right? You can go buy the court documents. And it was a student who had made a manifesto, but because he was a minor, it was supposed to be private, but somehow they were able to get the court documents on it. And then they went to Nextdoor and they went to Facebook to post it to the parents, to share that with them on like, hey, did you guys see this? And now it's making it into even a bigger deal when the school was trying to, it's minor. Like these are minors that we need to protect their information. So that we need to know our lane on this end. So I'm hoping you guys see this and we can kind of have that part on that part. Here's a fun way that I think it's still to have this conversation about what information you should be sharing online, is Google search yourself. Try even right now, like even Google search yourself, because it's interesting. Some people are like, oh my gosh, Kim, thanks for making a Google search myself, because my address came up, my phone number came up. They instantly had to call like the white pages to get them to turn it off. So even right now, let's see what kind of comes up, right? If you Google search my name, this is the funny thing. My friends thought this is hilarious. I did not know I was a risky book author. I wish I made this money of this author. So this is what my name comes up. So students think it's hilarious as well when they look my name up. So it's just a fun way to talk to them about what a digital footprint is. Their footprint is not big enough yet at this young of age to be Google searchable, but they do have a footprint that's there, but they kind of understand that. But there's other fun ways I'm going to show you to be able to kind of see, how you can, check your stuff on your devices to be able to seek, right? Because everything is tracked. It's all time, dated, logged, and located. Okay, so that's just a fun way to do that. Number 3 is recording your passwords. Know your child's passwords on all the devices and social media accounts, right? So this is the reason why is they post all the time, and it's a public domain. Like think of it as it's social media. It's like posting out there like the World Wide Web, and it can be out there. So this is a school in Arizona that these seniors got together to make this post, and then unfortunately these students that made this word, they had thought they had sent it to one friend. They thought it was funny because they thought, well, we jokingly call you this. And that one person then put it up on their Snapchat story for all of his friends to see. And while the investigation was going on, his phone was taken. And so he didn't have access to a phone to be able to take it down. So if his parents had his passwords, they could have gone on to the Snapchat to take it down before the news media got a hold of it, because he had it where it was anybody can have it, right? So it is one of those things. It's like, yeah, man, or your phone dies, these different things. So it's so important that we kind of know what there are. There's one in Pittsburgh that just happened. I think this was last year that they had reached out to me. This situation in Pittsburgh, California here, where a student was in the hallway. Everyone's like, parents are always like, well, where were the adults? If you look at this picture, it's in the hallway. You can't have staff in every single hallway. This literally, this was taken, like the students told me, they're like, it was basically taken and then they put it back in the backpack and that was it, right? Like this was this prank that they did. It was so quick. There's no adults around. So again, parents right away want to have emotions get sucked in, and it's like kids do pranks and they don't always think things through. Same thing could have happened if parents could have had the passwords. It could have maybe taken, they still have gotten caught and they still have gotten disciplines, but it might not have made the national news. I mean, this made national news on that end. So it's just super important that we try to kind of have that and have that. I have my parents' passwords because my dad was attacked online. It was some spammer, but he has no clue how to block. He has no clue how to delete messages. He has no clue how to, do those different things. So that's why it's also important for you to have those passwords. I agree. Those are not pranks, but again, in their head, that's their way of being funny. We're in a world where it's very dark humor now, and this is the way that they're thinking on those kind of ends. And if you saw that also, it was all students of color who thought that they like thought this was their like they're funny. Again, absolutely not. They definitely had a lot of consequences that followed after that. And I worked with the district office on giving them some suggestions of what they could do on that end of the restorative justice part on that end. Okay, number 4 is setting limits. Setting limits, monitoring your child's mobile usage, text message on a regular basis. Okay, so big piece is a lot of schools do have one-on-one devices. Schools have certain Wi-Fi, like they have settings at their school that they're not allowed to get into, but when they go home with these devices, it's not set up at home. So making sure your Wi-Fi at your own house, it has everything, like has the parent controls. So number 1 is like permanent websites. So that would be definitely like Pornhub, like all the different porn sites, right? Super important to eliminate that. You can even restrict time settings. So you can have it where your Wi-Fi gets turned off at 9:30 p.m. Something like that, and doesn't get turned back on until 6:30 a.m. So they're not on the Wi-Fi all night long. Is one thing they can do. The other thing you can do is, oops, let me go back. There is an app called Bark, because the biggest, I get it, it's so hard to parent in this generation. So there's an app called Bark. There is other ones. I just know Bark the most just because a lot of my friends use it. There are other ones that are very, very similar to it. And they do the same kind of things. But just so you kind of see what it does is, and I believe you can do it, I think it's a 3-month free subscription. And then from there, it's like about just under $100 for a whole year subscription fee. Yeah, so just kind of getting an idea of like the cost of this kind of a service. So this is Logan. He's one of my friends' kids. So what happens is it'll notify his mom if he is searching on the web violence. But what he was searching was he was looking at medieval times for his history class. So it does send you a lot of notifications at first, but it's really good because it got Logan Logan knowing that his mom knew this, because she would go, "What are you searching that you're typing in violence?" And he's like, so he finally realized it. So when it would come up weapon, he would actually, before it even she would get the notification, he would shout out going, "Mom, I'm looking at paintball guns," right? So that they would know what's going on, right? So he would know. So he knew that she's going to get a notification with it happening. So that's kind of the whole goal, is you're getting notifications, so you can have a conversation with your kid. But that way your kid is also knowing that you're getting that, so that they know to kind of rat themselves out when they're searching the stuff up. Okay. Another example is Quinn, is my other friend's child. And so text messages, because it's so hard to monitor every single text messages and group chats and all these different things, right? So it was actually a text message to her that she gave me. And it basically says it was bullying and violence, because down here she had said, Logan keeps on hitting me with his hat and keeps trying to kick me. So again, it does flag a lot of different things, but at least it's flagging it. So she knows it, and she's able to show her, like, look, this text message came up, like, so that she can see. But then over here, she was getting flagged a lot, like profanity. Quinn is in a group chat with a lot of her friends from school. And so one student thought it was okay to use the F word. And so it got flagged to her mom. Her mom pulls it up, shows her, saying, like, we're not allowed to use this word in our household. So kind of helped her cue her up on what she could say back the next time that student used that. Quinn started saying, "Hey, my mom checks my phone." And now that student no longer uses the F word in their group chat, right? Because Quinn was able to cue up what to say in that conversation. The other thing Bark does is you can actually, from your phone, you can actually block Fortnite. You can allow it. You can turn it off if they haven't done their homework or done their chores. You can turn them on or off. And then it also says it like where you can say a certain time, you don't want them having them on during school hours. Like, this is the time from 8 to 4. They need to be doing their homework and doing that different things instead of being on these different apps. So having that piece. So what I want you to do is even pull up your phones. This is for Apple, but if you have Samsung or even Google app, just look in digital wellness. If you type that in, I want you to, in chat, tell me what is your daily average of phone usage. So I'm showing you mine right now, 6 hours, 57 minutes. There's no shaming here, because the point is to show you how to do this. So look it up, because this is a great way to have conversations with students. I was doing it at school, just to give you an idea. If you're whatever, I saw a lot of people had like different service things when you're working with students. At recess duty, after school duty, when I was waiting for the bus, I would have them pull it up. I'm like, "Hey, what's your daily screen time?" And they would pull it up and they'd show me, and we'd have a conversation. Is that high for you? Is that low for you? This is the conversations I was having. So yeah, I'd love to see some of your guys' times. Again, I'm showing you mine. Mine is pretty high, but I'll show you why it is high because, again, there's no shaming. Then you can have conversations. Thank you, Jody. 2 hours and 9, 3 hours and 45, 4 hours and 6, right? So making sure you guys know how to pull it up. It's a great dinner. If you have kids, it's a great dinner conversation. These are the things, right? So yeah, look, Ellen's got the 10 hours and 31 minutes. And again, no shaming, but then I want to make you guys see everyone is different. Like everyone's using it. And there is no, like everyone always asks, well, how much is too much and how much is a little bit too much? Everyone is different. I kind of think of it as like how I teach students is it's kind of like going to the buffet. I love me some buffets. How many of you guys have eaten too much before and you get sick, right? So yes, you can eat too much and you can get sick. But you can also eat a lot. And how many of you guys have some friends who can't eat very much, right? So I can eat a lot and I don't get sick. But there has been times I have eaten too much, right? So it's just teaching them like everyone has different things, but it's also what you consume. It's also like if you're consuming negative things, you're going to get sick faster. And if you're just consuming the right amount, you kind of do that. So it's just those kind of things that you have there. Perfect. Okay. But here's the interesting part. So again, if I click it again, I can actually see where I'm spending most of my time. So if you look, even though you thought it was high, I'm spending 4 hours and 49 minutes on Waze, which is because I drive a lot to go to different schools to go out and speak, right? No, it's not an app, Monica. It is part of your phone. So this is showing you how to go to settings on an Apple phone. If you just search in screen time on Apple, it'll pop up for you. Or if you have Samsung, type in digital wellness and it'll pop up. So let me know, Monica, if you don't have an Apple, but that's basically how you do that. And you find your screen time on that end, okay? But that way you can see it. And what's neat is when you show this is also part of the conversation. Hey, where are you spending most of your time? The students look at it and then they start calling themselves out when they started doing this as a habit. They're like, oh yeah, I've been watching way too much Netflix this week. I probably need to limit myself on my Netflix account, right? I use this one game I get sucked into this gaming device. I need to limit that. And they've actually deleted the app off their phone for a little while because they're realizing how much they got sucked in. Okay. They call themselves that when they see this. So just showing you like how powerful this is when you actually do this with an activity with the students that you're working with, okay, on that part. All right, cool. Good job. Thanks for showing me on that end. Okay, so this is TikTok. Again, knowing that there's privacies on that end that you can actually set things up. How they do it is you have to go to a student's phone to set this up. It can't be done from your phone. So they have to go to their phone, set it up where it's a private, if you want private accounts, they can decide on who comments, post comments, everyone, friends, or just no one, who can do what with, who you can react to, who can message them. If they're under 16, no one can message them until they're 17. So there's the one thing about TikTok, they cannot get DMs until they're 17. I couldn't even do it with my own niece. So my niece could not get my DMs. Perfect. I'm glad. Good job, Monica. I'm proud of you. Yay, digital victory. We love it. Okay, Snapchat. Here's the difference with Snapchat. So that's TikTok. Here's Snapchat. Snapchat, you have to have Snapchat on your phone, and Snapchat has to be on your kid's phone. So this is Zoe. Zoe is your kid. You're going to ask her to join what's called Family Center. Okay, so you're going to join the Family Center, and when she accepts, what happens is you can now see, parents' view is you can now see anyone she is sending messages to. So you can now see everyone she's messaging and at what time. So if she's sending a message at 2 a.m., you'll see that. And then you can be like, hey, why are you sending Lori T a message at 2 a.m.? Right? You can have that conversation with her. If she's got Carlos Boozer, who is Carlos Boozer? Like, no, we're not following anybody whose name's Carlos Boozer in our household. And then she can be like, Mom, it's, Jake. He like just changes names. And then again, you can go back and say like, well, you need to know Carlos. We check your phone, right? So having those conversations is so important. So I love what Snapchat's been doing some really cool stuff. Their head of trust and safety used to work for Google Trust and Safety. And then she's like, I just want to work on one product. So that's why she switched over to them. This is a new one they also did because they're having such issues with the sextortion problem. Yes, absolutely. I offer, yes, Ava. This is the presentation I actually do for parents, is what I'm showing you now, this part. So this is what Snapchat just added, and it's basically because sextortion was happening where these third world country people were adding these students on Snapchat. Well, now what they're doing is they're saying, hey, Charlotte, hey, you and Charlotte don't have any mutual friends. Do you know them? Check before you start chatting. Report or block. They circle that. or it's okay, like you actually know Charlotte. So, but this is the message that they're showing to 13 and 17 year olds. They are not allowing them to even get this. Anybody else, this is the message they have pop up because they had so many problems. So I love what Snapchat is doing for the student safety. They don't have that. So kind of neat part of that. And this is another big one of management, right? Of checking your screen time and controlling different things is, hey, how are you controlling your device instead of it controlling you? Having a conversation about that. So these are all examples that students have said. Switching to airplane mode, stacking your phones when you're with others. If you've ever done it at dinner, whoever touches their phone first has to pay for dinner. Or if you're with students, I like to have them sing a song or spell their name out with their butt. It's hilarious. Try it. I promise you, you're going to have a good time. Just don't be the one who has to do it. Check your social media only on special times. So I've had some students say like, hey, I only check my phone when I wake up and right before I go to bed, and that's it. So like, it's kind of neat that they're showing different things. What I do is I tell my friends I don't want to be in any group chats. I don't like group chats because it makes my phone blow up, and my phone is constantly going off to help with emergencies that are happening on phones. So that's my personal choice, and that really helps me with my anxiety of getting these messages, right? So just other things, share your best advice with students and let them share their best advice, because what works for you might not work for them. Okay. Oh, number 5, look for signs. Watch your child's behavior for potential signs of abuse or addiction. Okay. So perfect example of like how I teach students about how to be what we call a digital first responder. This is Bailey. Bailey wanted you to see how her day went, right? So she wanted you to see how her day goes. How her day goes, she's resting, she's looking great. And then later on, someone takes a picture of the back of her legs, they circle it and they caption it thick. How many of you guys actually think this is messed up, right? How many of you guys think this is messed up? Put yes if you guys think this is messed up. And because it's happening, right? You guys think this is messed up? But here's the thing. If you're thinking it's messed up, so do students, but none of them were reporting it. None of them was being a what we call digital first responder. Not one person was going to Dylan up here in the left corner on Snap and saying, Dylan, this is messed up. This is not okay with me. Not one person who said, yes, this is messed up, going to Dylan saying, this is not okay. Not one person was going to Bailey saying, are you okay? I got your back. I saw what Dylan posted about you. That was messed up. Not one person took a screenshot of this, because again, 38% of them do not turn to adults. Sorry, 48% of them do not turn to adults for help online. They were not taking a screenshot to turn into adults. Let them know this is going on. If they take a screenshot off of Snapchat, what happens is it'll notify Dylan saying Kim took a screenshot. So now they're like freaking out, like, oh my God, Dylan knows. Well, they're getting smarter. If they take a phone and go over a phone, they take a screenshot that way. That's how they can get it without notifying Dylan that they have a screenshot. She then had to text her mom, hey, mom, can you bring me clothes? Because she's been telling her mom this isn't going on a regular daily basis. Her mom's annoyed. What do you got on? If I have time. She then has to tell her, I'm in a dress. They're taking pictures of me, making fun of me. I want to change. Now her mom changed her tone of, do you need shoes? I'll be there in 7 minutes. So just showing you, like, we need to train them on how to report, right? How to be these digital responders, checking on the students. It's okay to come and turn into adults. And being okay that you might not be their trusted adult. They might need to go to somebody else so that they can have. Okay. So again, so important to really stress that. Just like there was a car accident. If there was a car accident, you would call 911. That's what a first responder does. A digital first responder reports it instantly, right? They report it, they check on the people, they turn it into higher authorities to make sure we can get help. Walking them through those different things to be able to have it, because it is real. So we made this document. It's just called the Online Dating Mythbusters for Parents. And again, everything we make is made with students, for students, because we have a great internship program. Tons of students that are in middle school all the way up to college level are helping us make this kind of content. So if you look, there's $10.3 billion were scammed, internet scams in 2022. And if you look to sextortion for minors, 7,000 reported and 3,000 victims, according to the FBI. Okay, that's super high. And that's the ones that they actually know of. Right. So I'm just going to read a couple of these. Again, this was made as a Google Doc, and then I give it to students, and then they totally change it. Right. You can't have real emotions for someone you haven't met in real life. And on the other side, what students think is, I got to know this person online on a deeper level than anyone I've met in real life. It is less intimidating to talk to somebody over text than face to face. Right. Like that's their thought process. I'm going to drop down to the last one because this one always gets said by parents. My child wouldn't do something like this. where a student thinks, my parents have such high standards for me, but I want to live life as I choose and experience new things, right? So just understanding like online dating is how they're meeting people. I just went to a wedding in the summer where my former student met her husband. He slid through her DMs on Instagram, right? Like, and it was because they had a connection. They it was I think his she was friends with his sister, and so he had never met her, but he like saw her Instagram and sent her DM. So just like that's how they kind of talk. Okay. Okay. And I'm hoping we make you not scared of parenting because again, we're trying to teach you ways that you can have conversations with them because they really are super vulnerable. Like they will share things with you. So sextortion is real, right? It is a real thing. But again, we want to teach you how to have conversations with them because it is a real thing. And we just need to make sure we're talking to them about it. And so we made this document to help you because they think like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. That's like that's where their head is, even though they're not. We need to walk them through it of what they can do. And so it is making sure they know to reach out to that trusted adult first. I know you're going to be embarrassed. I know they're going to be, ashamed, all those different feelings. But it's like they do need to reach out to an adult so we can support them because it does need to get to law enforcement. It because the FBI doesn't need to get involved. Document everything, right? Persevere evidence, all these different pieces. But signs that you're interacting with a predator. And so I kind of blew these up so we can make them see them again. They immediately move from one app to another is a big one that was happening with this. That's why Snapchat made that so they couldn't move from one another. They ask all the questions and you're providing all the answers. This is again, these are signs for the student to know if it's a predator. Okay. They send you explicit photo videos and ask for yours. Yes, thank you for what DM is. Thank you. They want to be your mentor. They ask you not to tell anyone about the encounter. They make demands and you are the only one doing all the giving. They send you photos of other people engaged in sexual activity. They ask if you're gay and if your parents know. They want you to meet up with them and they threaten to harm themselves or you if you try to break it off. Okay, so those are the big red flags that a student is being interacted with a predator. Okay. So what we look at is for the parents, right? My child had this happen. What do I need to do? Number one is staying calm. Okay, staying calm. I think the biggest one too is maintain discretion. If your kids sent nudes or if they did all these things, like it's not your business to share that with all of your parent friends, right? Like this is embarrassing to your child, and I don't know. It's just one of those things where they're showing the mental health part of it. It is important to be just maintain discretion on it. I get you need to have something you can vent to, then maybe pick one person you can vent to tell them like, hey, help me walk this through what I can do. Okay. So signs that your child is being explicit online. Just kind of walk through that is the school grades. Their school grades may suddenly drop. They may change their eating habits. They may start cutting. They may not be able to sleep. They may become secretive, hiding their digital devices. They may show signs of being groomed or in a fantasy relationship. They may need to get a large sum of money fast, and they may start running away. Okay, so these are all signs. Just knowing that this is the biggest one. I think the biggest other one is like when they say things like "don't tell your parent." That is a huge red flag. So even telling them like, "Hey, when someone says this, don't tell your parent or don't report this." That's when they need to go. Like that's a huge red flag. That's the biggest red flag ever when they say those kind of things. So that's a big one. I just want to make sure I help you with that part. Checking their settings, right? Checking the privacy, security, and GPS settings on their phone and social media. So this is big. So what I'm going to have you guys do is pull up your phones, and I wanted you to go to your photos. What I make students do, this is just kind of just so you can kind of gamify it with the students. Is I go like this, right? I scroll, and then I will say stop. And when I land on a picture, they gotta pop open a picture, and they have to explain themselves. So what is this? I'm at a concert. What concert? Oh, I'm at a concert with my friend Denise. So again, you make it kind of gamified where I call it photo roulette. So pop open a picture. Okay, so have a picture on you have it. And then I want you to swipe up. When you swipe up on that picture, what happens is now what I have up is it's showing everything is timed, dated, logged, and located, right? So this was taken on Saturday, March 12th, 2022 at 9:31. Everything is timed, dated, and even located. If your locations are on, it'll tell you uh, um, it'll tell you the location, it'll say add location, but knowing that the cops, if they get involved, that they can see this. The other thing that's happening with these devices is you only do facial recognition search, even if they're not in your contacts. These are 3 people, like a couple of these people I don't have in my contacts, but because they're in the picture, they're in a couple of my pictures on my phone. That's why that comes up. The other thing that's neat is like because cops are having such issues with they're having such issues with like, hey, where did this screenshot even come with? You know, where did it come from? They were having a hard time, like, where's the original, who's the original person who took the screenshot? So now what happens if you take a screenshot, it'll say from Sarah. So this is a screenshot that one of my teacher friends had sent me. And so it's just kind of neat to be able to see that it'll say that. If it's a screenshot from Snapchat or a screenshot from Instagram, it'll say screenshot from those areas. And the other neat thing that's doing is that like here's a cat, like if there's a pet or a dog, this is my cat, shout out to Dickens here. It'll say cat, and if I click on that, it'll go to Google, it'll tell me what kind of cat or dog it is. If it's a landmark, it'll also do that. So these are kind of the neat things that the photos are doing, but this is showing what a digital footprint is, right? It's showing you, if I delete a picture, is it gone? Nope. It goes release the deleted photos. If I did it from there, is it gone? Nope. It goes to iCloud, it goes to Google Photos. Making sure they see, like, even if you delete a chat, like if you like, oh, I deleted that off my phone, like they're not going to find it. If an investigation goes down, they can go back. A lot of kids will bring in a conversation and they'll only show a small portion of the conversation. If it goes into investigation, they have to bring up the entire conversation. They're like, well, look, you started this conversation back up here, right? To interrogate where this problem is now. So they don't understand that that's the process of this. So this is a great activity to be able to kind of showcase on that end. Snapchat also has Snap Maps open. I have my Snap Maps open, but I only allow certain selected friends. I have my nieces actually have it where they're friends because they're very picky about who allows them, who they allow to friend on their Snap. Their Instagram, they allow way more people because they're just like, I don't care, I don't really post that much. But Snapchat is like, they're like very picky about who they allow into their Snapchat. You can also keep it on ghost mode where it's nobody. They can also make it go enable ghost mode where it's like 3 hours, 24 hours until turned off. The reason why they'll do that is like sometimes they're at a party, so they don't want anybody to see that they're at a party, so they'll turn that off. Or I don't know, they're mad at a friend, and so they're going over to another friend's house, so they'll put it on ghost mode for those few hours while they go to that friend's house. That person doesn't know that they went there. Okay. And people are always like creeped out about the location thing. Well, if you're in doubt, you leave it out, right? That's your choice on if it creeps you out or not. Okay. Number 7, friend requests. Discuss with your child about who they friend on social media, right? Who do they friend on social media? Because it is important. Like here is an account that I helped take down, Little Miss. So who are they following? There's 126 students who are following this account. If I click on that number, then the entire list pops up over here. I can see their names. I can see their images. I know who they're following. So is this the right kind of account? This account was going like, oh yeah, tag who you think has a big butt. And they thought that was, you know, and it was me. They were making comments about these different things. Yeah, look at here. Requested has had a big ass convo bro. So it's just like, this is what these middle school students were doing. And so teach them like, it's important that you have this. And the question is, do you like fake people in real life? Then why are we following fake accounts? Right. So having those things, how do we teach kids how to take this stuff down? You need to report every single post and the page. And you sometimes have to report it more than once. It'll come back saying like this didn't violate. You got to report it more than once sometimes because sometimes they just didn't see it on that. If they're gamers, what are they saying, right? What are they saying online? Is the right kind of people that you're having? The big thing I get is the big thing I get from students is like, they're like, hey, what do I do? Or parents, they want to know, how do I handle this? I go, well, number one, their devices, no device should be in their bedrooms at night, right? Their phone, their gaming consoles, none of them should be in there at night because it's too much of an addiction. Would you leave alcohol in a alcoholic's room, right? Like it's too much of an addiction. Same thing. I really don't think gaming consoles should be in bedrooms. If they are in bedrooms, then keep the doors open. So when they're talking on them, you can hear how they're communicating, what they're saying, because this is the kind of stuff that they're saying. So just give me some tips on what you can kind of convince them of having, or even ask them, where's your device at? You won't be kind online if you're not kind of person, and you won't be kind of person if you're not kind online. Okay, just that thing. I'm just going to pause while I take a sip of my tea, read this. Hopefully you laugh, give me a haha if you guys get the joke. Anybody see it? Is it a good joke? Hopefully you get it. Yes, right. So knowing students change their profile names. There you go. Thank you, Kimberly. Natalie. They change their profile names. So knowing, hey, who are you following, right? They might have had it named one thing and then quickly they might have changed it later on. Okay. All right. Got it. Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, here we go. Number 8 is negative posts. Talk about what a negative or inappropriate comment, post, or pictures. There's some, again, we're in a really dark phase. A lot of them don't know what a negative is. They don't know, like that one, the Little Miss one. A lot of students know, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to report that. Yeah, I was just at a school yesterday and they had one called New Heart. Their school's name's New Heart Gossip. And students didn't know, like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to report that. I'm like, yeah, was it negative stuff? They're like, yeah. They're like, yeah, that's a negative post, right? So just teaching them that because it's crazy what they're doing. And then students, like some of them are like, I'm going to respectfully call this out. This is not okay. And I'm not only going to report it, I'm going to respectfully call it out, right? So that's what they're doing there on that end. And realizing they're actually having to respectfully call out adults. This is a screenshot of how you can respectfully call something out. Her boyfriend was in a car accident and there was like 400 adults who came on the Facebook page of the town, right? Brentwood, where I'm at. And they were sitting there like, oh, teenagers nowadays, they just can't drive. And they probably had the rap music up and they were just making assumptions. And I love that a 16-year-old girl went on there to these 400 adults, had no fear, and respectfully called them out, right? Hey, these boys are very hurt. And as a community, we should be praying that they get better. I love that she respectfully called them out. It made some people go back and delete it. Did it change all of them? No. But it did change the content from there on out. Like it started actually changing what people said in there. So just showing you like it is important to know your comments, right? And what to do. Talk freely, communicate openly with your child about social media. I think that's really important on that end. So perspective versus reality. Like again, we compare ourselves like, oh, I wish I had her life. It's so perfect. It's so amazing. Here's a reality, right? Reality is she's at in a hospital at a bulletin board. Definitely not living her best life, but she makes it look great. Real talk about social media. Adults the same way. Adults look at something, they go, oh my gosh, they freak out. They even see headlines and they freak out. They freak out. They're like, ah, and they don't realize it's a perception of reality. Here's your truthful view, and here's mainstream media view. Your perception of reality depends on what you see, what you're shown, and what you're told. Like having that conversation, I think is so important that we have. And so we just have these things where if the group chat gets out of control, what do you do, right? You can leave the group chat. Sometimes you can't though, I will be honest with you. Sometimes you can't leave the group chat. You got to tell them, hey, stop being in this group chat because they can't remove themselves, or they've left a group chat and people pull them back in, okay? So we've walked them through what they can do. If somebody asks you for an inappropriate photo, what can you do? Don't reply, leave them on red. Don't text me back, block them. I love this one. My mom checks my phone, right? So it's just giving them some ideas because they do still get these messages of like, hey, you want to send me nudes? And I love that I had 2 students who said, I want to help because this happened to me. And I actually sent them. And I actually had 2 girls and a guy who was the one who asked for them. They came together and they worked on this for us because they said, no, I will help. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to send this photo? Are you sure you can trust the recipient? Are you sure they are who they claim to be? Are you sure you want to give them something they can hold over your head for more personal compromising images? Are you sure they won't threaten to share them with your entire contact list? Are you sure you want to give them that much power? Okay. So it is one of those things that we need to have the conversation. By the way, I do explain about nudes. If you're under 16, little to no clothing can include pajamas, swimsuit, or underwear. If you take it, you can get a charge. If you send it, you get a larger charge. If you receive it, you can also get a charge. So even parents have gotten it because their kids sent them the picture. If your kid gets it, they should show it to you. You need to delete it right away because it shows you when you received it and when you deleted it. So it's just one of those things because everything is time dated, logged, and located. And right on, like, again, school shootings, like people thought this was a joke with the smiley face emojis, turning this stuff in, like knowing what to do and being that digital first responder is a big, big piece. And the last one is knowing the trends, right? Know the trends on social media and gaming sites. So one trend, yes, on Snapchat, there's like my eyes only, they can put in a code and they keep certain pictures that only they can see, right? That's a separate code that they have. Another trend, making sure you guys know, if you think this is real, type in real. If you think this is fake, because this is a trend that's happening online. Do you think this image is real or fake? Go ahead and type in real or fake for me online. What do you guys think? I have not brought up Amanda Todd story. No. Sometimes those Amanda Todd one, it's kind of a complicated story to share. So if you can see some of these things, I try to have it where it's very basic kind of stories. Okay, so if you put fake, you are correct. So yeah, so a trend right now is what they can do is they can Photoshop Taylor out and they can crop her into a picture to make it look very real. So I will be honest with you, even like court cases are getting harder and harder because they're not accepting certain things, because you can even make a text message look real now. A screenshot of a text message, you can actually change it. So they're having a hard time with this. So this now is a trend that people are cropping things. Let me know if you think this image is real or fake. Let me know if you think this is real. This headline is real or fake. Do you think Taco Bell announced that they're going bankrupt? What do you guys think? Is this real or is it fake? What do you guys think? If you put, it looks fake, yeah, well, it might look fake, but it could be real. If you put real, you are wrong. So yes, if you put fake, you are correct. Here's the thing, 4 years in a row, a small marketing firm test this out because they wanted to see the people's reactions, because this again is a trend of news articles. The more they can get, your attention, then the more clicks they get. The more clicks they get, the more they get paid, right? So they post this up for 4 years in a row. What happened? Everyone freaked out because who loves Taco Bell? The people who love Taco Bell drove to Taco Bell to go buy Taco Bell, right? To be able to have that. They're like, I gotta get my Taco Bell. My friend Shannon was the one of them. I called her. I was like, Shannon, did you even look at what you did? Did you even check your sources? Like, did you even click on the link to see? And she's like, no, I just went and got Taco Bell. I was like, if you would have clicked on it, 4.6 million people got trolled and they all got fooled for it, right? Like, this is where we're at as adults. So it is, we get sucked in against that drama from headlines, from something that somebody posts about political stuff or whatever else, and we don't actually check it out before we make our emotions go up. So it is one of those things that's a new trend that we need to call out. Another trend, and we'll be honest with you, is group chats are getting really crazy. So these are some Texas students who got in trouble, and I want to kind of explain to you about what happened. So basically what they're doing is they're making these group chats. This one's called Slave Trade, right? But what happens is it notifies when you change the group chat. This is in Snapchat, this is in regular text. If they change it, you get a notification. So anybody who's in this group chat got a consequence because they were in it, they knew this was going on, and they got a consequence. So any student who's doing this now gets a consequence. If I've got a lot of cases where kids will put like a fire emoji on their comment that was negative, or they'll be like FR, which means like for real, or a heart or whatever else. Even if you do any of that kind of things, that means you saw it. That means you approved it. You're putting your name on there saying, my name is I approve. They got a bigger consequence. And of course, if you're the ones who change the name, you'll get the biggest consequence because you're the one who created this issue. This is now not only harassment, this is hate speech, all those different things are charges that they're getting. So making students understand this is a new trend that they're trying to do is they're creating these new chats in Snapchat, in different things to kind of do this stuff. If you've been in the area, I know there's quite a few high school football teams who had to stop their football team because they had this problem that was happening in their area. Okay. We try to show the positive trends. These are all of our digital winners here. We have an event coming up that's going to be live streamed out. It's going to be at Google in New York. So these are students who are doing amazing things online. Sharita has a coding camp that she does, which is really neat. Saket collects books that he then uses social media to kind of promote, to collect books to give out to third world countries or underprivileged children. Areli has a podcast about mental health. Joe's 10 and he's written 4 children's books, but he also raises money. I think he just raised $25,000 and then he bought gaming devices to give kids who are in have cancer treatment in the hospital. So it's just neat to see, like, showing that kind of stuff. This is another doc I'm going to give you guys because this is part of the social media emergency plan, but it's all hyperlinks. You don't have to have Discord to go report something. It gives you the pro tips. It also has hyperlinks to the parent guidelines and hyperlinks for law enforcement so that they can go and report that. Does it break policy? Let me just kind of walk you through that. This one does break policy because even though you can't see their faces, since they're minors, they have more protection than adults. So if I went to the school, I could probably tell who these people are based on, their looks. Even though I can't see their face. So this would be considered slander. It makes them look like they sleep in class all day when really might have put their head down after a test or whatever else. So this one would come down, but again, making sure they report every single picture and the post by the 3 dots in here. This second one is the bad parkers. This was another trend. This one was where this one did not break policy because it's freedom of speech. You can talk about bad parkers. Nobody likes a bad parker. But I love that Jackson, one of our intern, he sent me a DM. He's like, Kim, I was a bad parker. I admit it, I was really bad. You should have seen he's like, look at how bad I parked. It was really bad. I was like, what do you think? He's like, I don't know. He goes, but I DM'd the account saying, hey, can you respect and protect my privacy? And because he's like, can you blur out my license plate? So then they actually did. So if you notice, because he respectfully called it out, that account stayed up, but they started blurring out everyone's license plate. So I just thought that was really cool. And then this last one, yeah, they use students' IDs. So it has information like their picture, their full name, their student ID number. That's all information they shouldn't be sharing online. This came down really quickly. So just showing parents and students how they like which ones are okay. Yes, let me go back and show you this one. This is what it looks like, but again, it's going to be in the final. I'll put it in the chat for you guys to have. And it's also in the social media emergency plan. We have steps on how to take them down. So it's kind of that's something easy for people to push out on that end. This is something that'll also be in the slide. This is a great thing if you guys want to, if you take a QR code, it'll also be a clicking thing. It's a test to see where you're at. And it's just a fun way to engage with people on how their knowledge is on social media. Do they actually know it? So it's just a fun way to be able to have that. Students actually made this for us. Our interns made that to see how well you do. But what I'm going to end with is, again, going back to, hey, I've given you tons of things. Hopefully you've gotten a lot out of it. I'm hoping that you guys tag us with your notes because it just makes it cool when I can see what your notes are on our social. But just making you think about going back to those original data, like what can you do, right? Hey, I will go spend, I'm actually trying to hit oh gosh, 1,000 hours outside because I always feel better when I'm outside, but I know I have to be on the computer a lot for work. So that's one of my goals this year is be outside more, right? Let them be bored. I think that's big. It's okay to let them be bored. Having daily family technology time. So if you're gonna watch a movie, don't be on your phone too, right? So like, hey, we're gonna watch this movie together and no one's gonna be on their devices. Or hey, at dinner time or whatever, we're not gonna have our devices. Social with peers is basically like, this is a generation where your common sense, your street smarts is not theirs. Their street smarts is they know how to make font bigger on their device. Your street smarts is it was really easy for you to go and ask people to come over to your house and have dinner and have a play date. It is not common sense to them. So I do need your help with being more social with people. My niece goes to college and she goes, Kim, it's really sad. I am not really friends with a lot of, she's from Sweden. She's not really friends with a lot of Americans because she's like, they're always on their phone. They are constantly on their phones. So she's like, a lot of my friends are international students because they know how to be off their phones. Talk to them in the car. I think that's a big one. That's the perfect time. They're trapped. That's when they can open up on that end, right? And then the next ideas I have for you is let them be part of the solution. Make them create a PowerPoint around the solution. If they get in trouble, make them be part of the solution of what their discipline should be, right? I think it's kind of cool. Set boundaries of how much screen time they should have. Listen and talk openly. Like this is a crazy world. So I think that's kind of a big key is listen and talk openly. Teach by example, right? Hey, I have my phone out because I'm waiting for this phone call. Hey, I'm putting my phone away because I want to spend quality time with you, right? And then just reconnect with them. Just reconnect with them. I think that's so important. Do things with their phone that you guys can do together. Like that heads up game is really fun, or do things without the phone, right? So try to reconnect with them. Since we are a nonprofit, I just want to kind of throw it out there. 3 ways you guys can keep supporting our mission is number 1, supporting our programs, right? Donating or even hiring us to come out and do something. We have tons of resources for people. Be an adult volunteer. Like we need people to help us and get our information out to press releases. We want to get on the news and be the experts around this stuff because I just feel like this. I know there's a lot of connections on here that know some news people. I don't know. Or come and volunteer and help our student interns with their projects they're working on. And the last one is even shopping online. We have a great store that you can buy something. There's one of my favorite shirts that says, do more things that make you forget about your phone, right? So it's just neat that we have all these different things. So with that being said, and if anybody have any questions, or I'd love for you to put in the chat, what is the thing that what's one thing you're going to do that you're going to say, hey, I will help. And if you scan that QR code, it just takes us to our social media sites. If you want to follow us or check out our website, that's all there. So any questions, put them in the chat for me. And then, or I'd love to hear what your I will help statement is. I can give you an A+ as a teacher. I can make that happen.
And I just wanted to let you know, we do have one question. One question said, what is the authority for your information about nude photos and definition of nude photos?
Oh, what is the definition for nude photos? Yeah, and by the way, hi, Amy Wells. I love that. I got a fan club. Yeah, so nude photos is anything with any images with little to no clothing. So little clothing can include pajamas, swimsuit, or underwear. If they take them in a certain kind of way, that can be considered child pornography, right? So if it can be like close-up shot of their chest or below, right? That kind of a thing, or even their like butts is a big one now. All that kind of stuff can be considered as child pornography. Sex trafficking is number one. We're the highest. United States is the highest for sex trafficking because of my fans only pages, all these different things are happening. And so yeah, it's very interesting. Hopefully that answered your question. Oh, look at, we got Arlene that's getting her A+. I will help parents understand that they need to be involved. Yes, Eileen, perfect. Great information as a grandparent. So Tonia, take it to the next level. As a grandparent, what are you going to do? What are you going to say I will do? Will you Google search yourself in front of your grandkids? Will you play the photo roulette with them? What will you do? Get your A+, people. Any other questions? Put it in the chat.
We do. Oh, and follow up, I guess, to the previous question. The authority, which law? If you know which law.
Oh gosh. I am not a police officer. I work with police officers, so they're the ones who give me the codes, and every state is different. And I am based in California, but no, I don't have that law. But there is laws. So I'd work with a law enforcement and they can tell you. Great question. I need to probably get that answered. Thank you, Sandra. Good job. You got an A+ with your answer. Thank you for that. So you use child sexual abuse material instead of child porn to highlight that is sexual abuse and not choice that a child is making to engage in porn. Thank you for that, Jody. See, that's what everyone in here can help. The question is, will you? How do you eat an elephant? You one bite at a time. So if we get a whole bunch of people to help us fight this elephant, we have something going on. So I love it. Thank you for this help. And again, if you guys want to, that's how you guys can help when people download that social things, or, hey, Kim, can you make us a thing with the laws? Like, I'd love to be able to make that. That's a great idea. And it would just be working with an intern to be able to kind of and make it happen. Information, perfect. Look at Sue. She's getting her A+. And we'll get passwords and add Bart. Yes, Yasina.
And we have one question. Could you offer this workshop to parents in the school I work for?
Yeah, so yes, it's part of our thing. So we do, if you look at our websites, there's packages. One of the you can do simply just the parent presentation, absolutely. But what we do is we do presentation to the students because we want to get everybody on the same page and the entire community. So we try to go into school districts and get the entire school districts. For example, I just was out in San Jose and did all of their middle schools, and now I'm going back and doing all their elementary schools. I'm now doing the same thing at another school district, and they're doing high school, middle school, and elementary with parent nights, and having that piece. And then there's curriculum to go along with it, so the conversations keep going even after we're done, and it's all engaging on that end. Perfect, William. Good job. More outside time. You get an A+. I love it. Yay, good job, Kate. Yes, A+. Perfect. So let me, since you guys are still here, let me just throw this in the chat. But again, I'm hoping they'll send out an email with.
We had one more question that came in.
Yeah,
have you been in West Contra Costa County?
Well, I live in Contra Costa, so it depends on what school. So I live in Antioch, and I've been to a lot of the Brentwood schools in Livermore. So yes, but not sure which school you're referencing. So pull up that one document. I've been to a lot of the high schools in Concord, and like one middle school in the MDUSD. Great questions. Okay, let me get this queued up, you guys. My apologies. So here is. I'm just going to throw all these links in case you guys want them now, but one of them has everything. So just put it in the chat for you guys. The parent resources, that is basically a Google slide, and it has all the resources all in one for you. So I just want to make sure you guys have all of it in one spot. But I know a lot of people ask for those things privately or whatever else. Great. Any other questions? Super proud. Thank you guys for all showing up. Yeah.
We had one more that came in. Have
Yeah.
you been to DLS or CHS, as they are not a public school? So it sounds like private schools.
Yeah, Carondelet, they hired me together. It was their first time they've ever, in De La Salle, yeah. They hired me together. It was their first time they've ever done something as a united front. I came and spoke to their freshmen. I'm doing another event with Carondelet for incoming freshmen in March, but then they also want to do it for 6th and 7th graders. So we're doing an event with Carondelet, but it's going to be recruiting for the younger people. So I'm doing a special event with them. But it's been a little while before COVID that I did that with De La Salle.
Okay, it looks like oh, and the links will be emailed. Yes. And I think that's it for the questions. So I'd like to thank Kim for her great presentation. And just letting everyone know, we will be sending out an email that has a link to the recording of this presentation and also the slides that Kim is going to include. And then if you can, fill out the survey, because that helps us kind of see how she performed and also kind of let us know what you guys are interested in. Okay. So thank you for all coming, and thank you, Kim, again for your great presentation.
Thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome. Everyone. And I loved your DJing in the beginning. I totally liked Shazammed one of your songs.